Exposing the impostor. Previously.
Just then, a car could be heard outside, and someone shouted,
"Haley, the butler is here!"
Haley's face changed, and I let out a sigh of relief. Finally, someone could prove my identity.
John, you've come just in time. This mad woman keeps claiming she owns my villa. Please tell everyone whose villa this really is.
That's nonsense. This villa belongs to Mr. Balmer.
John grinned subserviently, practically licking Haley's boots as he spoke. As soon as the words left my mouth, everyone looked at me with even more disdain. Some even spat at me. I gritted my teeth and glared at the butler while shouting, "I don't care who paid you to spread these lies, but this villa belongs to the Siegel family. My husband, Thomas Siegel, is the rightful owner. How dare you show up uninvited to throw a wedding and then lay your hands on me? If my husband finds out, you won't get away with this." As I shouted in anger, Haley burst into laughter. Her voice cut through the air.
You say you're Thomas Siegel's wife? Who is that man? I've never heard of him. He's probably some poor beggar. Of course, a lowly woman like you only deserves to be with a beggar. You're causing a scene at my wedding and ruining my mood. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll never learn. Girls, get her!
At her command, her lackeys rushed at me like animals. They tore at my clothes, snatched my Hermes bag, and destroyed it with scissors, all the while mocking me for carrying such a convincing counterfeit. Guests who had begun to arrive in the villa started pulling out their phones to capture the fight. Haley, worried that her actions would damage her image as Mrs. Balmer, ordered her lackeys to drag me into the restroom.
Exposing the impostor.
Ignoring my screams, they shoved my head into the toilet bowl. The stench and the suffocating feeling almost killed me. In that desperate moment, I summoned all my strength to shove Haley away and bolted out of the restroom. I raced toward the exit of the villa. Haley, whom I had knocked to the ground, screamed,
"Hurry! Grab that woman and bring her back!"
My clothes were shredded into rags and I was a total mess, but my car was parked right outside the villa. I would be safe if I could just get to it. I clung to that hope as I ran toward the car. Just as I reached the door, they caught me. They slapped me in the face once more.
"How dare you run away? Oh, you do have a car. Let's see who you're sleeping with to afford that car."
Well, no wonder you're so slutty. Turns out you're just a whore who sleeps with old men for money.
Whoa! Is this a top-tier BMW? Emma, looks like your body's worth quite a lot. No wonder you could show up to Haley's wedding to make a scene.
They grabbed some stones and began to cut me on the skin. Soon, my body was filled with bloodied scrapes as I screamed in pain. But my agony did not satisfy them. They picked up some huge stones and flung them at my car, shattering the windows. They rummaged through my belongings inside the car while cursing loudly.
Exposing the impostor.
This slut isn't even using cheap stuff. Her silk scarf is a limited edition. Looks like her sugar daddy is rich.
And all these sexy nightgowns in the trunk? She must have used them to seduce some old bugger. Let's burn them all.
They set fire to my belongings. The flames leapt toward me as I lay on the ground, bloodied and gasping for air. Haley, watching this, seemed utterly pleased. She smiled at her lackeys and said,
You guys are the best! Don't worry. Once I marry Joel, I'll introduce you to some of the managers from Novelux Group. You'll all get to feel what it's like to have a successful boyfriend.
The lackeys cheered and rushed over to thank Haley. They nearly bowed at her feet. Just then, the groom finally arrived. Joel stepped out of the car. He saw the flames and frowned as he walked over.
What's going on? Why is there a fire?
Haley immediately rushed to him and said,
Don't worry, darling. She's just a vain, slutty woman trying to ruin our wedding. I've already taught her a lesson.
Who's trying to ruin our wedding?
Joel's face darkened as he wrapped his arm around Haley and coldly huffed.
I'll need to take a look at the woman who has the guts to do so.
He marched straight toward me, grabbed my hair, and yanked me up. My bloodied face made me almost unrecognizable, and Joel's eyes briefly flashed with disgust. Just as he was about to throw me aside, he suddenly froze. Staring at me in shock, he stammered,
Mrs. Siegel?
It was at this moment that Haley knew. Her lies were about to be exposed in front of everyone. Head to the GoodNovel app now to find out how everything unfolds. Search the book title, Exposing the Impostor, or the book code 412545. Like, share, and follow more content on some of the best stories.